Hello everyone, this second video for the month of February, I'm going to be talking about Black History Month because that is what we are celebrating this month. I just want to encourage you, if you are like myself and history was never really your thing, you can make it interesting and come alive for your kids. It can be a very rich area to teach and to explore, and as long as it's not like a memorize this fact and this date for the test kind of thing, it's going to be a much richer experience. So any kind of history study that you can do or learning about the past is very interesting, and it can be encouraging. Even if it's discouraging, just remind your kids that we need to study the past and history so that we don't make the same mistakes that our ancestors and people in the past have made, and we can learn from others' experiences so we don't have to go through that same experience ourselves. Pinterest is a great place to find tons of ideas and resources. Teacherspayteachers.com that I mentioned in last week's video is another great place to find resources. I've found tons of different library books on different Black people in our history, African Americans that are influential, that it would be interesting to study their contribution to our society. There are tons of different YouTube videos. Just make sure you pre-screen and that you are aware that YouTube's ads often do not align with the content that you are watching. So you may be watching a video that you have already pre-screened and that is totally acceptable, and an advertisement may come on that is not in line with your family views. So just be aware it's not necessarily something that you can put on for the kids and go fix dinner. You want to be present for that just to make sure nothing inappropriate comes up, because once they see it, they can't unsee it. So there are tons of different coloring pages. Some people that we have studied in the past: Rosa Parks, George Washington Carver, Martin Luther King Jr., Ruby Bridges, Harriet Tubman. There are so many different people in our history that have made a huge impact that it would be interesting and empowering for your kids to study and learn from them. You could even do like a little mini unit study. You could learn about someone new each day or each week. You could do even kind of like a role playing where you reenact a different scene. Just to get your kids involved and make sure that you are kind of setting the stage for them as to how these people sacrificed and what kind of odds they were up against and how they persevered. A lot of them were facing a lot of societal pressure, and they knew what was right and they stood up for it anyway, even though it wasn't really the popular opinion. You could even watch a documentary together if you have older kids who can sit through a documentary. That would be interesting, just to pick out the key points and just to hear from a different point of view. Sometimes it's nice and refreshing for your kids to hear from someone other than you, and they can take that in, and it's just a whole different experience. You could take a field trip to a Black History Museum. You could read about African folk tales and fables, or you could even learn about the country of Africa. Maybe they're studying their culture and their flag and different foods. Any way that you can kind of bring something relevant into your homeschool life is always a win-win, right? So those were just a few ideas that I came across or that we do here. I hope that gave you some value, and I hope you found maybe some tips that you want to try.